The Carol Lloyd Band is a band that was around for quite some time out of Brisbane. The band is now defunct or split or whatever you want to call it. And with me tonight I've got Carol Lloyd and also a guy who's instrumental in what she'll be doing in the future, and that's Colin Petersen, who's been around the Australian rock and roll industry and the overseas one for quite some time. Welcome both of you to Nightmoves. Well, I guess we should talk about why the two of you are actually appearing here tonight. Would you like Colin maybe or Carol to explain the reason?
Well, the beginning probably came about 14 months ago when Colin signed as A&R manager for EMI, us as a Carol Lloyd band to a contract.
Yeah.
And during that time he's sort of watched our progress, and he's since become an independent production company. And the result being that Colin and I have tonight signed a contract, a 4-year worldwide contract as a solo deal, and he's the man.
Which is excellent. A lot of people I know, specifically from Brisbane in particular, have been wondering what's Carol going to do now that the band's not about. So there's your answer. She's going to get into it with Colin Petersen over the next 4 years, not in a production capacity.
Yeah.
Before we go into the details of that, can I ask you what you've been doing since the band broke up? Apart from getting all this together, obviously.
Well, I've kind of had to survive for the last 3 months since I moved down to live for a while here in Melbourne, and my occupation before I got into music was advertising. I was a writer of commercials, which probably means I get lots of spears in the heart from the viewers. But I've been doing that since I was about 15, and I've been working for a company, an advertising company called John Clemenger here in Melbourne, and it's been a nice tie-in to jingle work and music and advertising, and it's worked very well. And Colin has come along with this good contract, which means that the future for me looks pretty good.
Were you worried for a little while there, like at that particular period when the band did break up? Were you thinking, oh well, we tried,
what's going to happen? Yeah, I was, but I think it's probably important to point out that we put the band together as a professional unit. The guys in the band were all session players, and we agreed to go into a recording thing together. Yeah. And when that particular contract ended, we naturally sort of went our separate ways. I decided to come down here for a while, and it was sort of advantageous that Colin was interested in recording here and taking on another deal.
Well, Colin, I'll talk to you about that. Like Carol just said, when the recording contract with the company finished, so did the band. Now, you're obviously taking a different tack on this by an independent productions deal with Carol. Would you like to explain exactly what that entails?
Well, it's the overseas record industry is based on independent production companies. Yeah. And the advantages of that are many, but in the main advantage is the more people that are involved in the development and involvement with artists, the better. Yeah. And the more people who believe in the artists, the better. Also, an independent production company, you have possibly 1, 2, 3 artists that the producer is entirely involved with at any specific time. With most major companies, there's an endless number of artists signed to the company. And I think personal involvement is such an important part of the record industry that the independent production side of the industry will become much more important in Australia as the years go by.
Yeah, you think it's going to start taking on the aspects that it has overseas?
Certainly.
What do you see Carol as being over the next 4 years? Or Carol, either of you can answer this. Are you going to be changing your image a little bit, or like you've always been a raging rock and roll lady? Even in the ballads that you've done, you've always done a full-on sort of approach to it. Are you going to maintain that same sort of style, or what?
Well, I can't see that I'd be changing style, in that it's something that comes natural to you. You don't set out to achieve a style. Yeah. You just hope to find one along the way. I think myself, and Colin could reiterate this, I think it's probably an area that Colin was interested in when he was first interested in the band. I think things won't change a great deal. We'll record material that's suited to both our ears, and hopefully it'll be something that people are going to like, but I don't intend to change in any way.
Yeah. Fingers crossed for the future, huh?
Let's hope.
Well, I wish you the best of luck. I'm sure the people in Brisbane in particular will be very pleased with what they've heard tonight, because the Carol Lloyd Band is a band that's been around the country for quite some time, always done big things in Brisbane, but never had the recognition I believe you should have had down south as far as Brisbane is concerned. So I just hope everything goes really well for the two of you over the next 4 years, and maybe even longer than that.